Hi everyone, so it is Sarah here from the Dance Den. I am thrilled to sit here and have a wonderful chat with Nicola Smith from a Handcrafted Business. Very good friend. We became close. We have the same mentor. That's how we first met. Now, I guess the similarities for us between our two businesses, we've both got very large communities, but in different sectors, but the similarities cross over as to what we do. So mine is all about dance and theatre and dance school owners and helping them run a better business while supporting their passion for all things dance. And I guess, Nick, you would pretty much say the same for your wonderful people as well.
It's all about, my people are all about craft and art and design and very creative. It's very creative business owners. That's who I deal with.
And it's about turning those passions into money and a living and understanding we're worth our value, and so there's a lot of crossovers, isn't there?
There's an awful lot of crossovers. It's about making money from your passion and doing something you love. Do something you love. I've even got it up there on my wall because that is what it's all about. If you can make money and earn a living doing what you love, then how amazing is that? How lucky are we?
Yeah, 100%. Oh my gosh. So we are going to talk GDPR.
Oh yes. Oh, that wonderful thing that everybody loves so much. Now, are you finding that some people are saying that actually they're almost prepared to stop their business because of GDPR, which I kind of find a little bit mad, really. Yeah. But it's scaring them that much.
I haven't quite come across that. I have had a lot of people say how they're very overwhelmed by it.
Yes, it is. But I think, have you found we've had a chat before coming on here now, and actually even just between us two, even though we're very similar in many ways, GDPR is something different for both of us. It's completely different in what we've got to apply to our business and our clients and communities as well.
I think that's what you've got to stress as well. And ultimately, everybody runs their business differently. Let's face it. You may be have a group of wonderful people that are craft people, and I have a wonderful group of people that run dance schools. However, every single dance school that I work with is run in a different way.
Yes.
They use different apps, either on this or on an iPad or through databases.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They all keep their information in a different way. They all use it in a different way. They collect it in a different way.
Completely. Yeah. So how GDPR, it's because I'm only on my third coffee.
Oh, is that all?
Look. Can you read that, or is that backwards?
No, I can read that. It's right way. I love ketchup.
I love ketchup. And then my friend put my mug on my mug.
I love it.
So if you wonder why I'm drinking from me, it was a gift.
Oh, see, now I've got a mug that says dance on it. So there you go. Mine's really appropriate for you.
Be happy, sing, dance, love that.
And hug. Anyway, we get a bit distracted here. We do this.
GDPR.
GDPR, yes.
Yes.
It's not the nightmare though, is it? And I know many people are overwhelmed by it, but I think if you can get your head around the basics of it and the fact that actually it's very much needed. Yes, because the old 100%. Data protection was all pre-Facebook, pre the internet really. And so data is very different to how it used to be. So we do need to have something. And as much as it's hard work to apply it in retrospect and to get up to date, once we're there, it's only going to be a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was The Economist that said that data is now more important than oil.
Ooh,
more valuable than oil.
Yeah.
So if you think about the way that the world is going, and everything is 24/7, let's face it, everything is mobile, everything is here, everything's on this.
Yep. I can't survive without this.
No. And the more it's going that way, if you think about all these companies like Google, like Facebook, they are collecting so much information. Think about it, right?
It's Big Brother, isn't it? It's got to be Big Brother.
It is, completely. Think about it, right? You go searching for a coat on an internet, right? Like, I don't know, say Boohoo or Debenhams, or I don't know, anywhere.
Anywhere.
And then the next time you go on Facebook, you get all these little ads.
Yep.
Lots of coats. And you're like, what the hell did they know that when I wasn't?
Other websites as well. You get the Google placement adverts.
Yeah, and you weren't even switched on to Facebook yet.
Yeah.
All those cookies that work in the background, they see and they remember everything. That's all data.
Yeah.
All of that is data, and they're collecting it like nobody's business.
Scary what they know about us.
It is.
But we tell them about us. We share this information without even realizing we're sharing that information. But the brilliant thing is that as small business owners, that we can actually be doing a little bit of this as well. And as long as we make sure we are covered and compliant and only doing it in the right way, we can really use this to actually build our own businesses in a good way.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think it's also an opportunity for us as small business owners to show to our customers how we value their privacy, how we value their data, and that we're not going to use it irresponsibly. We're not going to use it.
We're not going to sell it. We're not going to spam them.
And it's our opportunity to say to them, look, we respect the fact that this law is changing. We're going to uphold that. We're doing that. And immediately to your customer, you're going, oh, well, they're taking care of that. They're legal. They're professional. And it shows you in a really good light. So it's a really good thing if you're proactive and do it. But you've got to do the work.
Got to do the work. But the trouble is, isn't that there is no one size fits all. You can't just kind of go, oh, they're doing that, so I've got to copy it and do the same thing. We are all in different, we've already said it, haven't we? Everybody does something a little bit differently, whether it's how you collect your money, whether you take cash. If you're completely cash, then you're fine, you're not collecting any data, are you? But as soon as you are getting that personal data, whether it's name, address, email, or for you even sensitive data as well, like medical history, then you've really got to suddenly up your game and kind of go, I now have a responsibility to my customer to look after that information in a way that if it was my data, I want it looked after.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think it's really important that people, I mean, we can help and we can advise because we're both quite knowledgeable on GDPR, but only because
we've done the work.
You and I have done an awful lot. You more than me, Nick, actually. I've done an awful lot of watching videos from
reading it all and reading that. Oh, it's so heavy, some of it, but it's got to be done.
Got to be done, but we don't, we're probably barely touching the surface of it. And
but I'm making sure that one of the big things in GDPR is the fact that it's got to be appropriate to the processing risk. Well, if we're quite small fish, aren't we? I mean, come on, we're small businesses. We're not up there. We're not kind of like your really big names and your really big brands who've got hundreds and thousands of kind of people's data that they're dealing with every day. We are relatively small, so doing it appropriately, which for me means a common sense approach, as simply as possible, has got to be the way forward. And it's just about making sure that you go back to the beginning of where you get that data and making sure that process works. And if it works, brilliant. And if it doesn't, what sensible little tweaks do you need to make? And having a privacy policy is absolutely important.
And like in big sparkling lights and glitter in people's faces, privacy policy, not hidden in the depths of the cellars of your website.
It's just got to be there. It's got to be findable. I'm not even sure if that's a real word, but it's my word and I like it. Findable.
Completely. Bright sparkling lights. I got a question though, out of interest though. If you don't have a website, so where are you going to put that privacy policy? Do you know the answer to that? That's just a random question.
My common sense approach. So I can't say it's necessarily the ICO answer. It's my answer. And I am very much of the opinion, well, I know that the ICO are very much carrot, not the stick. So as long as you're seen to be compliant, they're actually going to work with you if it isn't. So I think that's good enough. But if, for example, some of my community, they sell only on Facebook, they're not anywhere else at all. So my advice is either pop it in a file on Facebook or in a Facebook post, whichever one suits you. Keep the URL. And then, because you have to make the privacy policy available at the point that you collect the data or just afterwards. So if somebody places an order through Facebook, you are then sending a thank you for your order message, or thank you for joining us, or whatever it is. Pop the link to that post in there and just say, here's our privacy policy. So it is available. That's my Facebook solution. And I'm sure that there's going to be other ways of doing it in other platforms that keeps it as simple as possible with what you've already got. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yeah. I was thinking maybe trying to pin it.
I don't know if you need to go to the point where you pin it.
Okay.
I don't think it's that far. Maybe if you are using the shop on Facebook, you can list your products on Facebook in your shop there. Having a link to it or just referencing it, you can find the privacy policy in my files. But I know from lots of other information that I've read and I've heard that as long as if you're taking, say, an event and you're using one of these payment machines, if then you take an email address and it sends them a receipt, you can normally, with that processor, edit and customize the receipt that goes out. So as long as you put in there a link to here's our privacy policy, then you're covered. It doesn't actually have to be directly at that moment. It is the fact that it's there, and somebody then has the option to kind of say, whoa, I'm not happy. But actually, if everything's more than reasonable and fair, it should be all right.
Common sense.
Yeah, yes. Common sense.
And let's be honest, how many people do we actually think are going to read the privacy policy?
Oh, hardly any. It's the likes of me and you that kind of like, oh, we want to know what people are doing now because we've done that level of research. But even no, I'm bored of it. I can't read anymore. I've done enough to go on my own.
I don't think, I mean, the thing is, it has to be there.
Yes.
The likelihood of anyone actually opening it and reading it and spending the time is probably unheard of. And from our point of view, I know in the dance school, I mean, our terms and conditions are probably forefront when people sign on the enrollment forms, and some of them are online and some of them are still paper. And the terms and conditions are there in people's faces. And honestly, I mean, I have, 330 pupils personally in my dance school. And I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've seen a parent actually sit there and go, through the terms and conditions, and then go, can I just clarify this point in the terms and conditions? I've gone, sure, no problem.
Do you think that's because terms and conditions and GDPR, we all know it's out there and we all know it's happening, and it is only if something goes wrong really that we're going to refer back to it, but that it needs to be there for people to refer back to. But it comes back to the chances, the risk of anything happening for getting it wrong with GDPR are really, really slim. But as long as you've put the work in and you're shown that you're working towards being compliant, the ICO, who govern obviously GDPR, are going to work with you to improve it. There is all this talk about massive fines, but
maybe
you're going to have to do something really wrong. Can you imagine what breach have we got to have for us to be that vulnerable?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%. 100%. So let's just walk it through then, so that both of our customers and our followers and our community don't feel that overwhelmed, because we both come from that angle of, I'm a big fan, and apologies, I'm not sure if your customers will mind this word or not, I don't know, but I'm a big fan of cover your ass, right?
Yes. Yeah. To me, that's what GDPR is all about. It's being...
Apologies if I offended anyone by using that word.
Yeah, I'm sure you haven't. It's fine.
But I'm a big fan of that through every element of what you do, because like you said, when it hits the fan, that's when the problems and the stress and the anxiety and that, oh my God, I can't do this. Why am I doing this? I'm just going to give it all up, comes into play, which is where we go back to from the beginning of the conversation. So I think for everyone that's listening to this now, I think the thing is now, guys, just to not go,
Yeah, don't think you can't do it. You can.
Through.
A positive mental attitude. That's the way to approach GDPR.
Completely. So do yourself, I think the first step is really do a checklist.
Yes. Well, I've got a checklist if anybody wants it. It's available in a group that I've got on Facebook. I'll give you the link to pop in for wherever you use that. It's easier. But yeah, it's basically GDPR for small creative business owners or something like that is the title.
And I've seen it, and it's pretty much appropriate, other than potentially the Etsy thing, because we don't sell on Etsy. It's pretty much appropriate to what we do as well as dance school owners. So
there you go. Let me find it.
I will.
In advance, shouldn't I?
Well, it's okay. We'll put the link in after. It's fine.
Yeah, no problem. It's basically that. So there's a step approach. So basically, if we just very quickly work through it, it's about knowing the data that you collect and why you collect it and how you collect it, and that includes knowing the legal basis, which kind of freaks most people out when you go, but it's really, I don't know about you, but once I got my head around the legal basis, I didn't think it was that bad. It's quite logical, really.
It's about due diligence. It's about being transparent.
Mm-hmm.
It's about just saying to people, look, this is what we're collecting, this is why we're collecting, and this is what we're going to do with it.
Yes.
That's basically what it boils down to.
It is, and it's just putting it into a category as far as GDPR, the legal basis, is concerned, which is either contractual. So if you've got people who are signed up for your dance school or people are buying from you, to fulfill that contract, you need to have data from them and you need to use it in particular ways.
It should be legitimate interest in some ways, because you can't fulfill the contract without that right data.
There is an overlap, isn't there? So legitimate interest is another legal basis. If you've got a website and it's about keeping it secure, that's your business legitimate interest to do it. You can't kind of guarantee security otherwise. And the other one, consent. How did I forget consent? The other one is if you've got a marketing list and your emails and you're building that up, then you've got consent to email people. So there is 6 in total, but those are the primary 3 that kind of really impact. So as long as you can put something into one of those categories, you're fine.
Yeah.
And then the other one is we all use processors, don't we?
Yes.
Whether it's PayPal for taking payments, or I don't know, I'm sure you can list other ones.
Like for us, it's databases like MemberMeister and numerous others.
There's loads of them, but
some people use PayPal. Google Drive, iCloud.
Yeah, all of those, they're processes, and if you've got data in them, stored in them, or it's going through them, you need to make sure that they're compliant. The onus is on you to do that due diligence. And then ideally you'd have a processor agreement, but that's not always easily available. But just print out what you can and put it in a folder. I know some of my ladies are concerned about the environment and kind of go, do we have to print it all? Save the PDFs, pop them into a folder somewhere on your computer, and I'm sure that will work as well. It's whatever's right for you, isn't it? Then it's cookie notices and privacy policies, and if you've got a mailing list, making sure that's up to date, and figuring out if you need to register and pay the fee as well for this. But that's about it in a nutshell.
Yeah, and that leads nicely into the ICO, who are basically the governing body for GDPR. And I think from my point of view, and this goes back to us saying everybody runs their business differently.
Yes, completely.
Take like what we and what anybody else is saying, and trying to listen too much. I think that's the answer, because the more you listen and the more you get into it, people have got different opinions, and we can't do this, we can't do that.
Isn't it?
Yeah, you're like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, ultimately, just learn, read, and then go, okay, if you're not unsure on certain things, pick up the phone and ring the ICO and go, look, I've read this. I'm unsure as to whether this applies to me or not. If I just give you a breakdown of my business and what I do, can we just discuss this? And don't just ring the ICO and go, I don't understand GDPR.
Be specific about what you don't know. Be
really specific, because you're going to spend an hour waiting to get through
to
ICO.
An hour and a half. Yeah, they're a bit busy at the moment.
They are. So make sure that when you're ringing with very specific questions, because then you're going to really get the most out of that call.
Yeah.
And then you can come back and go, okay, I get it now. This is what I need to do. And then start putting those things into...
completely. But if anybody wants my checklist, I do know that I'm targeting primarily handcrafters and artists rather than dancers, but it still all applies. Actually, the checklist does have all the basic information in there as well about what personal data, how to comply. It mentions those legal bases that we've just covered, and it's free. There's nothing. I'm not trying to get money out of anybody for this. It's just very basic information, including the principles of GDPR. And the first principle of GDPR is actually lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. And if you're fair, looking after people's data, and you're transparent with telling people what you're doing with it and how you're using it, you're pretty much going to be okay, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, like if you sell handcrafted cards, and then suddenly you open a dance shop, and then you start blitzing your handcrafted card list with ballet shoes, you're gonna get a bit of a problem. You're gonna have an issue. You're gonna have a complaint. So,
but if you're only talking to people about what it is that you originally said you were going to talk to them about, you're fine.
Yeah,
I love that example. I do love that example.
So we're crossing the businesses.
Yeah, you can't cross the businesses. But ultimately, I don't think if you put a little bit of work in, it needs time. I'm not taking away the fact it needs time and effort, but ultimately, I actually haven't found it that bad once I've got stuck into it. Have you?
No. Once I got my head around it, I was overwhelmed to the start. And when I got my head around it, I was like, you know what? Actually, I get this now.
Yeah.
For me, it is allocating the time. I still have not altered my privacy policy. I will hold my hands up on that. It's sitting there. I've started getting consent of all my current customers because they're not necessarily on my e-marketing list. They're on my database, and that's fine because I have contractual consent to contact them. So that's fine. So like I showed you earlier on, this is the start of me getting the consent.
See, it's so technical, isn't it? It's so kind of, you do it in the level that works.
The paper with the little clip. That's all. But the problem is that's probably about half of what I need. Yeah. So, and I've got what, 15 days, 20 days, something like that. I can't think. But yeah. So
at the end of the day, if we're not completely ready by the 25th, do you think the ICO are going to come banging on our door and saying, "Oi, what you're playing at?" Do you think, conversely, that any of your customers or community will be complaining about you on the 26th of May if you're not 100% ready?
Yeah, no.
I don't.
It's not going to happen.
And I don't mean that to be that I'm not taking it seriously and we're not working towards that deadline. Just be nice to yourself. Don't put the pressure on yourself. Do what you can.
Yeah. Because you have to live.
Phone buzzing?
It is my phone. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to move it away. It's a no caller ID.
Oh,
can we start GDPRing those people?
But yes, that's perfect, because it does bring us to the fact that I do know a lot of the people that I'm talking to are saying, well, why do I even need to do this just because I now know about it when I know 10 other businesses who are doing nothing about it?
Mm-hmm.
And you go, because it's legal and you have to. Yeah. And if you want to be that professional person, if you want to run a legitimate business, if you want to be trusted and trustworthy, isn't this what you need to do?
Yeah, 100%. And you don't want to be that one person. And knowing me, it'd be sod's law, it would be me, right? That one person who doesn't do it, and I'm doing it. So no, it'd be that one person who doesn't do it, who gets that knock on the door and go, "Hey, we're from the ICO, and here's your fine." And can you imagine that? And
then, I can't.
I mean, for us as dance school owners, and I guess it's the same with handcrafters, when your reputation is everything. I mean, we deal with children.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth is huge, and
absolutely,
we're dealing with children majority. I know some of mine are adult kids as well, and therefore the reputation is everything. So if you get out there going, "Oh, did you know they got done because they weren't legal on da-da-da-da-da-da," which is why I'm such a fan of Cover Your Ass. You can't bury your head in the sand, unfortunately, with legal issues, because there will come a time where it will come and bite you in the ass. So.
And this is very much about a preemptive, just get yourself ready and get it all in a folder, and you can forget about it, other than follow your processes as you've set out in your privacy policy. But I'm actually also finding that an awful lot of the processes are actually improving customer service. Mm-hmm. It's about kind of actually spotting opportunities to kind of go, actually, well, if I do follow up and say thank you in this way and the other to include that, it's actually another communication, which is really helping and improving. So that can't be a bad thing.
No.
Right, I wanted to ask you a question. Sensitive data. So it covers children. For you, it also covers any medical data that might be relevant, and even also photographs, which include children. Mm-hmm. What are you having to do over and above what I'm doing to ensure that that's all GDPR compliant?
Great question. And it was one I think I was more panicked about. And I have rung the ICO twice on this subject and broached it because sometimes I'm hearing a little bit that, with the ICO, you can hear one thing from one thing from another. And I think this issue is too critical.
I think the tip I've heard, if you do speak to the ICO, is to take the name of the person that you're talking to and make a note of the conversation, what got said, with the name and the time and the date, so that actually that is all you can refer back to it should you need to. So
that. Yeah. So back to the thing, it falls under, particularly with medical interest, it falls back to special category data. Yep. Now, medical information they're more worried about because that really has to be maintained in the proper way.
Yep.
So what we are doing for, medical detail is one thing. Child protection with photographic and film permission is another. Now, when you've got things like child protection laws and HMRC laws, they will override the GDPR laws.
Yes.
Because they are more important, quite frankly.
Yeah, so when somebody opts out of marketing and they say even the right to be forgotten, you still have to maintain some of that data to be able to fulfill your accounts and everything else that you need. So
completely. If they've bought something from you, it still has to be held for HMRC because you've still got to pay your tax on it. If it's a photograph that you have been using and it's particularly a very good one, and you have permission to use that, you have to hold on to that permission. Now, this is crucial for children. Now, the question has been raised, how long do you hold on to that permission? I'm holding on to it indefinitely. Because
surely for as long as you want to use the photo for, at the very least.
Yes.
And if you've used that photo on social media anywhere, then actually that photo is going to live on social media for longer. Whether you're actually putting it up there or not, it's still available, it's still findable. That's that word again. So you need that.
I would hang on to it forever. Now, the problem that we have then as dance school owners is that for me, on my enrollment form, the permission for photographic and film is on the enrollment form along with the medical information. Now, when a child leaves, I don't really want to be hanging on to that medical information.
You don't need it, do you? You don't.
Because
once they've gone, you don't need that little bit.
Exactly, and that's part of GDPR. Get rid of what you don't need, or only take what you need.
Take what you need, and only keep what you need for as long as you need it, and then get rid of it. So, are you making sure now that when somebody leaves, that you have a process in place that means you've separated your forms? I'm guessing that the medical information gets shredded and disappears.
Yes.
But regardless of, even if it was 10 years ago since they left you, you're keeping that permission for any photographs.
Exactly. So which goes back to this.
A massive file with all that information.
I know. Which goes back to this little form I showed you earlier on. This is my new consent form, but it's also a reconsent for photographic and film use.
But it makes complete sense, doesn't it? I mean, as much as I understand this is going to be a hassle for you right now. It's a lot of work to be put into place. Yeah. But there's no part of me that doesn't think that this is a really sensible thing to do.
Exactly. Because what happens if those enrollment forms, God forbid, get stolen? They will have someone's address, someone's email, a child's date of birth, and a child's medical information on it. That's just horrific to me. But if I can get rid of that, if I can burn it and shred it and dispose of it correctly, please don't just scrumple it up and put it in the recycling. Please don't do that.
Don't do that. I'm laughing, but people can and do that. So I shouldn't laugh. No, it's serious. It is.
Yeah, it is. That is.
Shred it.
That's going back to people leaving government documents on trains and then it getting picked up by the wrong person and then there's a big scandal. That's going back to that. So let's not go there.
No.
So this then becomes the form that I keep.
Yes.
This has then got the parent's name, the date, the signatures, which is the important bit, that say that they sign, and it's got the child's name. So it's got parent's name, child's name. It's got the signature to say that they have signed to consent for photographic and filming. They've got the signatures to say that they consent to being contacted on e-marketing, which is my proof that they have said yes. So if ever somebody says, you didn't ask me for consent, I go, yes, I did.
See, is it wrong that I'm looking at your system and for your customers and thinking, actually, it's very simple. There's work involved, but it's actually very simple. And doing it all in person and having that signature, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And online, actually, it can almost become a bit more complicated.
No, it's just, I was sat there thinking, how do I do this? And I thought, well, I just need another form. So now when they enroll, I know it's another form.
I know.
You can do this online. It doesn't have to be done. I know this is a little bit, I'm trying, she says, I am trying to be paperless. Don't go with that.
That's working. I'm not sure that's working.
I'll give up on that one. Then I keep that form. And then I shred the one that's got the information, like the date of birth and all the rest of it, that I really don't need to hang on.
Going forward, forgetting the fact you're updating, but going forward, how often will you go through and remove those medical files? Because doing it weekly, as everybody comes in and comes out, doesn't really seem a very efficient use of your time?
I do it on a termly basis, so I have 3 terms a year. So somebody could say if they run all year round, they could do it maybe on a quarterly basis or something like that. Because ultimately, all of our enrollment forms, I'm so sorry, my phone is on silent, but it is buzzing again.
All right.
All of my enrollment forms are locked.
Yeah.
Locked away as they should be.
Yeah.
So realistically, no one has access to them because they're in a locked office in a locked filing cabinet. So all I have to do is,
but you've got sensitive data, so it really does need to be locked away. I think what I was trying to get to there is that even if we say we're only going to keep data for 6 months or whatever it is, you haven't got to do this daily.
Oh no.
It's about having a process and having a routine in place. And termly, as a dance school, makes complete and utter sense for you. And even if it's whether you do it monthly or 6 monthly or however it is, it's just allocating that little bit of time just to do that admin on your business.
Yeah, to go through and go, right, who's still enrolled with me? Right, they're not, they go. And then every time someone new comes in, it's the ongoing process of they automatically get the new little thing along with the other, you know. So
it will be easier once you've got all your backlog done.
Yes.
Then actually going forward, it's really, really easy. And I think that's everything with GDPR, that right now, having to change what you do, having to tweak what you do, there's an awful lot to do. But ultimately, it can improve what you're doing.
Yes.
It's a lot more transparent and clear to customers, which has to be a good thing. Makes us more trustworthy. And it's about just putting those processes in place and knowing that once a term, you have a day where you've got to face all the admin of where you file everything and shred things and do everything.
Yeah.
It's just about practice and process.
Yes.
Oh, it's so simple like that.
Practice and process. We like that.
Oh,
awesome. Right. Well, we are over our time that we said we had a lot for it. So maybe we should just wrap this up then. So if you want to find out more information about me and what I do with the dance, then I also have a free group called the Dance Business. And my website is all the W's, thedanceden.co.uk. So if any handcrafters out there who send their daughters to dance schools who think that their dance teacher could help with their communication and everything else, then please send them my way.
Definitely.
And then
Sarah's brilliant.
If all of my dance school owners have some wonderful handcrafters that they know of, and there's a couple of them that make themselves. So
brilliant.
I know they do.
Pop over and say hello.
So what your details are?
Website is handcraftedbusiness.com with all the W's at the front. And otherwise, at the moment, the best place seems to be to find me is in the GDPR group. But I'll let you have a link for that so you can link with it, and give me a link to your website as well, and I'll make sure that all ties together. And actually, if anybody wants extra help from us, we both have clubs as well where you can join us and you'll get that proper personal help, and we really get to know your businesses and work with you to build it and grow it, whether it's me for crafting and Sarah for dance.
Yeah, we should mention that as well. Yeah, actually. They are paid groups, guys. They're not costing the earth either. And from what my members tell me, and I know from what Nicola's members tell her, we do over deliver on what is offered in there. Probably too much, as our mentor would probably go, hang on now, girls.
She wouldn't be happy with us sometimes. You hear her voice sort of talking to you, saying step back.
But it's because we're passionate about making sure that you guys are valued and that you're living the lives that your passion is supported financially and everything else that goes along with it. So reach out if you think we can help you at all, whether that be in the free groups or whether you've got questions about the paid academies and membership schemes that we run.
Somebody's desperate to get hold of you.
Do you know what? It's GDPR and a show term all wrapped into one, and my head is like,
you're ready to explode.
I am.
Yeah, and so doing it and helping other people and guiding other people means that you're not putting the time into getting ready and doing it all yourself as well. And I know that one. I've got to make time for me.
Yeah, which is why I haven't done my own privacy policy.
But if nothing else, if anybody's watching this and they're thinking, what do I do? Block some time out in your diary and just go back to the basics and, pop over and join my group. And if you don't, it does ask you a question if you make to sell. Just tell me your dance school and that's absolutely fine. But this will give you the bare bones and the basics and just really help you get on the right track.
Amazing. we will wrap it up there.
Thank
you, Nicola, we've been on for hours. I know we've only recorded for some of it, but trust me, we've been on for hours.
We've been talking non-stop, haven't we? So, right. Yes, so it's time to love you and leave you. Yeah. Contact details will be down below for both of us somewhere, assuming that we're both posting somewhere where we can put it below. Might be above, might be at the side, be somewhere close. Right.
Amazing.
Yes. Speak soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. Take care. Bye.